You didn't try, but because sometimes without even knowing it, a person spends their whole life performing. Not for joy, not for love, but because somewhere deep inside, they believe they must earn their place. They must show enough, do enough, be enough before they are allowed to feel enough. And try. But because this is the story of a bird who learned that lesson the hard way. Far from any city, past the last river anyone remembers by name, there was a valley where many animals lived together. Still again at night, by midday. Still again at night. The animals ate, rested, argued, and moved on. Nothing special about it. But on the tallest branch of the oldest tree at the center of the valley, 3 eagles lived. They did not hunt together with the others. They did not share their food or explain their choices. They simply sat there high above everything, looking out at the valley as though they owned it. Most animals believed they did. To be noticed by the eagles, to have them turn their heads and look at you, was considered the highest honor a creature in that valley could receive. There was a starling named Kale. He was not the largest bird in the valley. He was not the fastest. His feather, use it dark and plain, built more for use than for beauty. But Kale could do something no other bird had ever done. He could carry a song from one end of the valley to the other without stopping, shaping it mid-flight so perfectly that the animals below would pause whatever they were doing and simply listen. It was a rare gift, honest, alive, completely his own. But Kale did not think about the gift itself. He thought only about who was watching. Every morning he rose before the others. He flew his paths, sang his songs, and then looked up. High above him, the 3 eagles sat on their branch, facing the far hills. They never looked down. Kale told himself, not yet. Not enough. Tomorrow. He began to change his songs. He made them louder, sharper, more unusual. He flew closer to the tall tree, tracing long arcs through the air, hoping the movement would catch the eagle's eyes. Sometimes other animals stopped to watch him, a young fox who smiled from the grass, a turtle who lifted his head slowly, a small rabbit who clapped her ears together and called out his name. Kale noticed none of them. He was too busy looking up. A crow named Breck approached him one afternoon. You're singing differently, Breck said. You used to sound like yourself. Now you sound like you are trying to sound like something else. I am improving, Kale said. Breck tilted his head. Improving for who? Kale did not answer. He was already flying again. Seasons passed. Kale grew thinner from the effort. His songs, once natural and free, now felt practiced, strained even to him. He had changed nearly everything: the rhythm, the pitch, the path of his flight, until he could no longer remember clearly what his original song had sounded like. One morning he landed closer to the tall tree than ever before. He sang for a long time, long and loud and carefully, every note chosen, every turn deliberate. The eagles did not move. He sang louder. The eagles looked at the far hills. He sang until his chest ached. Then one of the eagles turned slowly, without urgency, and looked directly at Kale. For one sharp, silent moment, their eyes met. Kale stopped breathing. The eagle looked at him the way a stone looks at the wind. Then it turned back to the hills. That was all. Kale flew to a low branch at the edge of the valley and sat there without moving. The sun moved across the sky. The valley filled and emptied around him. Late in the afternoon he heard something, a song. It came from the far end of the valley near the old river where fewer animals went. It was quiet at first, then growing warm and strange, full of little turns and hesitations, as if the singer was discovering the notes rather than choosing them. Kale flew toward it. He found the young fox, the same one who used to smile from the grass, sitting beside the water alone, singing something she had made up on her own. She stopped when she saw him. Don't stop, Kale said. I was only singing for myself, she said, a little embarrassed. Keep going, Kale said. She sang again, and something strange happened. Kale listened. Really listened for the first time in years. He felt something stir inside him that he had forgotten. Not pride, not the hunger for a nod from above, something much older than that. Something that had nothing to do with being watched. Your song is good, he said quietly. No one has ever told me that, the fox said. I know, said Kale. I wasn't listening before. He was quiet for a moment. Neither was I, he said to himself. The next morning Kale flew to the center of the valley. He did not look up at the tall tree. He did not trace long arcs or change his rhythm for anyone watching. He simply sang the way he used to sing, the way that had come from somewhere real inside him before the long hunger for recognition had pulled it sideways. The young fox stopped walking and looked up. The rabbit clapped her ears. The turtle lifted his head slowly and kept it lifted. Breck the crow landed nearby, said nothing, and simply listened. Above them all, on their high branch, the three eagles sat with their eyes on the far hills, still not looking just as before. But for the first time, Kale did not notice. Most of us have stood where Kale stood. We have worked harder, spoken more carefully, changed ourselves quietly and slowly, all to earn a nod from someone who is never really watching. And the painful truth is this: the ones who refuse to see your worth do not do it because you haven't proved it enough. They do it because your value was never the point for them. You are trying to fill a space in their attention that was always meant for something else. Every moment spent performing for an audience that does not want to see you is a moment you didn't try, but because not stolen from the people who already do. The fox heard the music, the rabbit heard it, the crow stayed to listen. They were there the whole time, not because Kale earned it, not because he proved it, but because what was real in him was already enough. Worth does not move upward to the ones who sit high and look away. It moves outward quietly to the ones who are already close and already listening. When you stop trying to prove yourself to those who cannot see you, you will finally be heard by those who can. If this story landed somewhere inside you, let it stay there for a moment. Don't rush past it. And if it reminded you of someone, a time you changed yourself for approval that never came, share it with them. Not as a lesson, just as a quiet hand on the shoulder. If stories like this mean something to you, stay close. There are more waiting, told simply, meant to reach deep. You don't have to prove you belong here. You already do.